games happened on Thursday night. We got 6 games. The first game, the Warriors beating the Cleveland Cavaliers 104-89. Seth Curry was questionable coming into the game, but played 35 minutes, 56% from the field, 40 points. He's just doing it every other game pretty much. Number 1 ranked player in the last 2 weeks and for the whole season. Him and Jokic are the new number 1 and number 2. I still prefer Jokic a little bit more, and Jokic is a little bit more durable as well, but Curry has been great. And as long as he's healthy, I don't see why he cannot keep it up. For the last 2 weeks, 32 points, 6.4 threes, 5 rebounds. You could say rebound and blocks are the only thing, but he's still grabbing 5 rebounds and 0.8 blocks, while averaging 6.3 assists, which is good. 1.9 steals is really good. 50% shooting, 95%. He's just been playing unbelievable. If you drafted Seth Curry outside of top 5, I don't think it's possible for you to have a below 500 record at this moment. Really good. Jordan Poole just 24 minutes, was in some foul trouble and didn't play well at all. -8 in 23 minutes. He should be back better than this. And to me, it's about, I don't think when Klay comes back, his playing time he's still gonna get close to 30 minutes most nights, and sometimes over 30 minutes. It's about how many steals can he get. But he hasn't been shooting the ball that well, honestly, and his ranking is already pretty good. Actually, 101st ranked player in the last 2 weeks, averaging 1.1 steals. So if he can sustain at that 1.3, 1.4 level, I could see him be inside of top 80. And if he gets dropped, I would use my number 1 waiver wire, to pick him up. Kevon Looney, 20 minutes, don't really matter. And James Wiseman is gonna do some 5-on-5s. If you want to pick up James Wiseman and just stash him, if you winning this week comfortably, sure. I don't think he's gonna come in and play huge amount of minutes, because I know last year at least he might have improved, but last year when Warriors were playing him and Kelly Oubre Jr., their defense was pretty horrible. So maybe he'll come and play 20 to 25 minutes. We'll see. And he's taking a lot of long twos as well, which just doesn't fit Warriors style at this moment. Draymond Green, 14 assists, which is great. Want to see him do more defensive stat. 1 steal, 1 block is fine, and just the 2 rebounds. Draymond needs to do the main thing is the defensive stats. The last 2 weeks and for the whole season, he's averaged around 1.3 steals and 0.7 blocks. I just want to see a little bit more. That will help. That's when his rankings will come inside the top 50. Getting 2 steals a game, getting 1 block a game. But this game, as long as he's playing with Steph Curry, he's getting those assists so easily, right? Setting guys up. And, you got Curry, you got Jordan Poole, and when Klay comes back, those guys making the shots, right? From Draymond's perspective, just got to set them up, know the plays, and just dump the ball to them. So good game from Draymond with the 14 assists. And Andrew Wiggins, I think he was maybe a sell high. Is one of those guys that if you drop him, you're not going to get another better guy on the waiver wire. But you're probably better off streaming that spot. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, some huge minutes coming out. Like I said, Isaiah Okoro is getting. He played 38 minutes last game. I think we could pick him up. They're really short-handed at this moment, at this time. Gerry Allen is out. Mobley is out. Lauri Markkanen, where is he at? I don't know. So they got a bunch of guys out. We could stream Isaiah Okoro because the playing time is so huge. Dean Wade also played 40 minutes. Had a pretty good game. 17 points, 3 threes. But I would check. Same thing with Ed Davis. All those 3 guys can be streamed. If Lauri Markkanen and Gerry Allen and Mobley is weeks away. If those guys are still out, I would look to pick them up. Darius Garland is probably a sell high. Not probably. Let's check his rankings because he had 7 turnovers here. So his rankings may not be that great. 51st ranked player. So if your team is punting field goal and turnovers, he's been great. But if you don't need his assist, I look to sell him for a top 50 guy back. Um, yeah. Last week 20 points, which is great, averaging 3.6 turnovers. So he's been turning the ball over a ton this season. Efficiency-wise, he's been great actually. He's been pretty good. 47% in the last 2 weeks, so that's better than expected. Ricky Rubio struggled this game. No rebound, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 10 points. Remains to be a must-roster guy. And Kevin Love, just in 21 minutes, he put up 17 points and 7 rebounds. And I think even when guys are coming back, Kevin Love should still get 20 points, 20 minutes. So he could still be a guy that we could stream when they got a couple games, back-to-back games. Let's talk about the next team, the Washington Wizards losing to the Miami Heat. So Wizards been dropping games left and right. Don't think they're going to keep that number 1 team spot in the Eastern Conference for the whole season. Bradley Beal played well, 36 minutes, 30 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal. That's more like Bradley Beal. He's struggling pretty hard all season, I would say. The last 2 games has been good. Well, the last 2 weeks is 85th ranked player, so still not where he needs to be. Should be a top 20 player. I think his push is like 20 for the rest of the season. So again, if you can make a trade for him, if you can try to sell Valanciunas plus somebody for Bradley Beal, that's something I'll be looking to do. Or who's been playing really well, Cole Anthony, Miles Bridges. Those are the names that I could think of. That it's possible they fall off as the season goes on. Aaron Holiday started, didn't do anything. We could still stream him. Dinwiddie's going to come back and play next game, so we can forget about that. Montrezl Harrell is a huge sell high. Played 36 minutes, 12 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists. He is a sell high because let's check his ranking. Yeah, he's a 40th ranked player, averaging 26 points. This game, because what's his name is out. Shoot, I forgot the Wizards center's name. Yep, Daniel Gafford. Daniel Gafford is out, and Montrezl Harrell. Thomas Bryant could make a return. So I don't see Montrezl Harrell playing 26 minutes a night. It's more like between 20 to 25. Some nights not even 20 minutes. It's hard to do anything in 20 minutes, no matter who you are. So I look to try to sell him. And really, the only thing he provides a little bit of rebound, but it's all about the field goal. He's going to give you 15, 14 points and field goal. So if you don't need that field goal, I look to sell him. But, if you need the field goal, even playing just 20 to 25 minutes, you could justify because he's a huge field goal anchor over the years. Kyle Kuzma, that's great. This is a great game. 19 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists. It's hard to sell him high because everybody thinks he sucks. In category leagues, that's fine. We can just hold him. Consider he played 40 minutes. This is good stuff. And KCP, let's not stream him. He's getting a lot of steals, 1.5, but it's just him getting lucky. I think for his whole career, he was never a big steals guy. And for the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler, I don't know what else to say. Jimmy Butler has been so good whenever he plays this season. The top 3 players this season has been Seth Curry, Jokic, and Jimmy Butler. I don't think Jimmy Butler is going to finish in the top 3 or even top 5, but he's playing really well at the moment. He could be. But if I have to bet, I'm not going to bet on that. But he's just been playing so well, especially if your team don't need the threes. He's so good. He might be better than Curry if you don't need the threes. I have to check on that, but 4 steals, 32 points, 10 for 10 from the free throw line, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. Yep, good stuff. PJ Tucker, minute has been high. He's been playing well, but I don't think I want to stream him because there's not one category that he's really good at. Maybe he provides some consistent rebound, but he doesn't really get any defensive stats anymore. Bam Adebayo, just no defensive stat out from Bam. 0-0, steal, 0 steal, 0 blocks again. 9 rebound, 20 points. His free throw has been fine. He's been scoring a lot, but no assist. But I prefer the old Bam, where you give us 5-6 assists, 1.5 steals, and a block. than this Bam, 20 and 10 a night, but no defensive stat, no assist. So if he doesn't get those stats, we have to rethink about where his ranking is gonna be, right? He's more like a maybe top 30, top 40 player, instead of the top 20 player that we expect him to be, with those assists and defensive numbers. Duncan Robinson is a point streamer with everybody back. He played just the 26 minutes. Kyle Lowry, great, 12 assists. Let's not, a lot of panicking about Lowry, because he had a 0-point game, but the assist is very, very solid. And we know how hard it is to get assists on the waiver wire. So let's just hold him, top 50, 60, 70 player. There's going to be some concern he's going to rest. That's also not good, like a Mike Conley situation. A lot of older guards, they rest. So if you want to sell him for a top 50 player, like if you can, right? Because he's been underperforming. Like if he's scoring 30 points, I would say, yeah, try to trade Howard. But because he's playing, pretty poorly, quote unquote, because he's not scoring enough points, people might be getting impatient with him. But if he plays well, score 30 points, I look to trade him because he's going to miss some games. The next game, the LA Clippers losing to the Grizzlies. Great win for the Grizzlies. Paul George, no steals. Again, he's for the whole season. Well, Taylor Horton Tucker probably doesn't count. He's a 4th-ranked player right now, so he's 5th. He's gonna be outside of 5th. He's gonna be top 10, I think, in the top 10 range, but he's not top 5. 23 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. Still great. I mean, overall production very, very good. And Kawhi is going to be out all season. So if you got Paul George at the end of the first or early second, it's still great value so far. Zubac, 13 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. His minutes has been pretty high. I don't know. Maybe they just play some teams that have big men in the paint. They got some interior forces that Zubac used to deal with. But if he can get consistent 25 minutes, we could roster him. Otherwise, just a stream. I think it's just a matchup. Amir Coffey's played 29 minutes because a couple of guys. Yeah, Batum was out. Who else was out? Terrence Mann played this game. Yep. So Batum was out. Amir Coffey played 29 minutes, but let's not pick him up. Don't think he has much upside. Eric Bledsoe, 25 minutes. This is a perfect game, like to buy low on Eric Bledsoe. When I say buy low, probably just use your worst player. So it's hard to execute. Like if he gets dropped, pick him up. He's gonna be very inconsistent, as we all know. At this point, who Eric Bledsoe is, over the years, he has one great game, has one bad game. But overall, on this team, he has consistent minutes. He can get some assists. He can get a bunch of defensive stats. I think that's enough for us to roster. Reggie Jackson, 18 points, 5 assists, and finally got a steal. That's great. But just want to see him getting those defensive stats. This is the only thing. He's going to be inefficient, sure. I think we all know that. And we know he doesn't get any defensive stats. But, just never changed, A lot of the times, like, if you're a bad steals guy, you go to a different team, different defensive system, you get a bit more defensive stats. But Reggie Jackson from Detroit to here, that's a good question. Let's see, in OKC days, was he getting any defensive stats? He's always been fairly inefficient. He's never been a good steals guy. His best year was when he was 23. He averaged 1.1 steals on Oklahoma City, and then every other year he got below 1 steal a game, and no blocks. You would think he's fairly athletic, got long wingspans. You would think he gets some blocks, but he doesn't get any blocks either. Averaging 0.1 blocks every single year. I mean, sometimes 0.2. Terrence Mann, we could stream him, but just the 25 minutes. Amir Coffey got a lot of his minutes, and Luke Kennard only a 3-point streamer. Played well though, 6 for 8 in 24 minutes, but was a minus 15, so did not play well. For the Grizzlies, minutes were pretty low across the board because it was also a blowout. Ja Morant, great. Ja Morant Yep, 18th ranked player in the last 2 weeks, averaging 25 points, 1.3 steals, 7.3 rebounds. That's super high for him. I think he wasn't a great rebounder last year. For the season, he is the 18th ranked player. Wow, averaging 6.3. So I didn't even realize like he's been grabbing a lot of rebounds. Last year he was grabbing like 3 maybe. So he's grabbing a lot of rebounds in last 2 weeks. 6.7 assists. I mean that could go even higher. 1.3 steals. He really improved in that area as well. 1.3 steals, 1.9 threes. So he's improving in multiple categories, not just one. He's improving in scoring a little bit. So that's minimum change. But he was averaging like 1.3, this season, 1.9, right? Steals was at 1 steal, maybe 0.9, 1 steal. So far this season it's 1.6. Rebound improved. Efficiency for the whole season, maybe he cannot sustain that 48%, but maybe it's possible. He's a pretty good field goal guy last year as well as a point guard. So far top 20 player. I think that's probably his ceiling, top 20. His floor could be, if the steals fall off, maybe top 30, top 40. So if you drafted, Morant late 3rd round, it's been great value so far. Let's see if he can keep it up all season. Last year he was great, and then he got hurt, and then production fell off. Because a lot of his game at the moment based on athleticism. But he's young, so he should be doing it all season. Desmond Bane and Dillon Brooks. Desmond Bane got more minutes than Dillon Brooks. D'Anthony Melton at this point is not a must roster. We could stream him for steals, and blocks, a little bit blocks, but that's it. Him playing 22 minutes is not gonna cut it. And some nights not even guaranteed he will play 23. But Desmond Bane, we could still hold. It looks like they just inserted Dillon Brooks into the starting lineup, and as a small forward actually. So Desmond Bane is still getting quite some minutes. 7 for 11 is not also a sell high for Desmond Bane. I don't think we want to drop him, but also sell high to get any. He's not even inside of 200 in the last 2 weeks. So the value he's providing is pretty minimal for the whole season. He's 114th round, so I don't think you could sell him high. Anyways, just hold. If he's getting 30 minutes a night, I think we want to hold. It's hard to get any value. For the whole season, he's averaging 14 points. That's great. 2.2 threes, that's also great, but nothing else really. Not a lot of defensive stats, and the efficiency was not good. Steven Adams, 10 rebounds. If you're pounding points and threes and free throws, if you got a big man team, you can hold Steven Adams. Otherwise, not interested. Gerry Jackson Jr., a great game, 18 points, 3 threes. So only 2 personal fouls. So that's great to see. He was probably a buy low for first couple weeks. He turned it around in the last few games. He's still just the 27 minutes in the last 2 weeks. Guess where he is? 30th ranked player. Why? Because he's averaging 2.4 blocks. If he averaged 2.4 blocks, give a little bit anything else, then you're a top 30 player. There's even 2.4 blocks is probably not sustainable, but he could go up. Like he's only averaging 15 points. He should be averaging 17, 18 points and 2.5 threes, honestly. The last 2 weeks he hasn't been doing that. But we know he gets some rebound, but a lot. He can get close to 1 steal, which is great for a big man, but he doesn't get any assist. So yeah, top 30 is pretty good. Like maybe you can make an argument, if he for 1 week he's popping off, you could try to trade him for a top 20 player. You could try that. Like at his absolute best, he's probably a top 20 player. But Gerry Jackson Jr., Porzingis, those guys are similar. They score, they hit threes. As a big man, they block a lot of shots. Porzingis on a per game basis is better than Gerry Jackson Jr. for sure, but he gets hurt a lot more. Yeah. But good to see Gerry Jackson Jr. playing better as of late. The next game, the Minnesota Timberwolves beating the San Antonio Spurs 115-90. Spurs whole team is probably a buy low after this game. And Thaddeus Young is a drop. I think it's very clear. He played 4 minutes once Pirtle is back. He's a drop. Devontae Murray, it would be hard to buy low because he's been playing so well. It's just a bad game. Derek White. I know Josh Lloyd loved this guy, and he's good. We definitely want to roster him. But I think he's getting to a point that he's a bit overvalued. He is the 178th ranked player in the last 2 weeks. Playing 28 minutes, just absolutely horrible. Putting up Draymond Green numbers, averaging just 7 points, 3.6. Well, Draymond Green can get you 8 rebounds and 8 assists a game. He give you 3.6 rebounds and 4.6 assists. 1 steal and 0.6 blocks is low at shooting 31%. So all the counting stats could go up, and the shooting as well. So he can only go up. You could say he could only go up from here. But I think Derek White, as we have seen this season, he's very inconsistent. He's not consistent. He will have games where he can get you 3 steals and 3 blocks with 20 points and 7 rebounds and 8 assists. He could do that, but he's not consistent. So maybe this is what I'm going to do with Derek White, is if I got him, is I wait for him to play better and then try to sell him. Because the community overall is pretty high on Derek White. So I could use that to get a top 50 player. I'll do a 2-for-1 to get a top 50 player. Derek White has the potential to be top 50 for a long period of time, but just super inconsistent, as we've seen. Keldon Johnson, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Keldon Johnson, just like many other guys, his ranking is going to be hovering around that 100 spot. And not the most exciting, but you could do a 2-for-1 trade to get like Keldon Johnson plus a top 70 guy to get a top 50 guy. Those are the trades that you could think about doing. And overall, it will be fair in a lot of sense. If the other team is lacking some depth, you could say. But I prefer to getting just that. If I'm doing 2-for-1s, I prefer to get the best player. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, but yeah, again, it's a bad game from the Spurs. Everybody all around, everybody played bad. And Jakob Poeltl, let's just keep him in the IR for a few more games, and then get him out there. Devin Vassell and Lonnie Walker both got 24 minutes. Devin Vassell is outplaying a lot of the Spurs guys, so I think we could pick him up, and he gets some defensive stats as well. So we could pick him up and see where things go. For the Timberwolves, great win. Anthony Edwards, wow, I don't know what to say. This is great. Did not shoot the ball that well. 3 threes, 13 points, but 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. 4 turnovers, yeah. Anthony Edwards, if he can start doing that a bit more consistent, he can be a top 25, top 20 guy. Those defensive stats looking real juicy. And we know he's going to average 23 points. In the last 2 weeks, he's actually just a 92nd ranked player. So, but this is a very good game for him. And interestingly, Jared Vanderbilt started and played 28 minutes. And he grabbed 12 rebounds and 2 blocks. Good stuff. And Jaden McDaniels also played 31 minutes. So one of them played some center minutes, and they play together on the court sometimes, and one of them being the center. I think it's probably Vanderbilt. This is good. Like, if these two guys can get consistently 28 minutes, that's great. But Nasri was out, so again, I don't think we could pick up Vanderbilt, see where things go, but it's very possible he start next game playing 60 minutes. That's the problem. Karl Anthony Towns, great game, 25 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. And D'Lo, the efficiency was rough, but he was a plus 29. Team best, 22 points, 5 assists, a steal and block. That's not bad. It's not bad. 4 threes. If he pounding field goal and turnovers, D'Lo is not really bad. But overall ranking, he's in that 100. But the counting stats usually pretty good. So if he's struggling, I usually like to buy low. But also, if he's playing like top 30, try to sell him for a top 30 player. I wouldn't trade D'Lo for a top 50 or 60 player because the counting stats he's giving is pretty hard to get. Efficiency is an issue, I know that, but I think from a value perspective, I prefer getting the counting stats over efficiency every time. Patrick Beverley, I think he also needs to be rostered. played 20 minutes pretty well. 8 points, 7 assists, a steal and 2 blocks. I mean, 7 assists here is good. 1 steal and 2 blocks is also very good. So we can pick him up. But if like his minutes go down production for a while, we could drop him. The next game, it was a surprise. The Sixers beating the Denver Nuggets. Sixers without everybody, they still beat them. Joel Embiid, I think he's still gonna be out for a week maybe. So I think it's good for him because he wasn't healthy. So just take his time to just get it right, get the niche right, and come back and dominate because he's been underperforming so far this season. Andre Drummond, value is running out, and he played 28 minutes. Didn't really do anything in this game. 6 rebounds, assist. Try to get any value back from him. The clock is ticking. Tobias Harris numbers. And Georges Niang, wow, he got 35 minutes. So we could continue stream him. Thought when Tobias Harris comes back, Georges Niang won't be getting good minutes because he's the backup power forward. But that's not the case. He started at the small forward. So if Joel Embiid continues to be out, and Danny Green, other guys, Matisse Thybulle, those guys are out as well. But again, Seth Curry, Georges Niang, Tyrese Maxey, these guys, Tyrese Maxey is rostered everywhere probably already, but they need to be rostered and look to sell high on them as well. Seth Curry plays super well, 20 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. But again, these guys are not, 1-for-1 to get. If you can get a top 70, struggling top 70 player, I would, and do a 2-for-1s because they are not gonna have this level of production when Joel Embiid comes back. There's no way. Tyrese Maxey, same thing. But as we can see here, another great efficient game, 22 points. But he's lacking a lot of the counting stats. Other than points, he's giving us 20 points a night, but not a lot of assists, not a lot of defensive stats, although I'm still in the block here. And he doesn't turn the ball over. That's another great thing about him in fantasy. But counting stats, not huge. Furkan Korkmaz is the one guy who suffered actually. Just 21 minutes. I remember last week he had a game where he went 5 for 19 or something like that. He was just firing away. So Doc Rivers said, okay, you gotta chill. We'll let you come off the bench. Limit the number of shots you take. Shake Melton 20 minutes. But his priority on this team is not that high. So we could stream him if they got a back-to-back. But yeah. And we got this guy Charles Bassey coming out of nowhere, playing 20 minutes, had 1 steal and 3 blocks, and he was a plus 20. So that's Paul Reed didn't play. I mean, both Charles Bassey and Paul Reed, they are big defensive guys. They could play 20 minutes and get huge amount of defensive stats, but we just don't know who's gonna play on any given night. So let's just leave them both on the waiver wire. For the Denver Nuggets, Jokic, great, 30 points. I mean, with Michael Porter Jr. out, look at Jeff Green. What is that? He played 23 minutes. I don't know. Is this right or is this a mistake? I was saying like, hey, Jeff Green gets 30 minutes. We can roster him. But what is this? 23 minutes, had 1 rebound. That's it. It was a -1. Michael Porter Jr. should be back. I think he's still a buy low in my opinion. So in the meanwhile, Jokic has to do everything. 30 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, and a block. Not the best game. Well, it's a great game from Jokic, honestly. Aaron Gordon, now is the time you're supposed to step up because everybody's out. But not shooting the ball well. Had 1 block. Not super good from Aaron Gordon. Will Barton, great game. 19 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. I think Will Barton might be a sell high. He's a 20th ranked player in the last 2 weeks. And you look at all the other top 20 guys in the last 2 weeks. You could argue, well, Tyrese Maxey, maybe Will Barton will end up the season better than Tyrese, but everybody else, man. So there's some easy sell high target or buy low targets you can do with Will Barton. Averaging 18.8 points, 3.6 threes. That's 18 points. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, because Jamal Murray is out. Realistically, it's 15, 16 points. 6.4 rebound. That's also a bit high. 4.8 assists. He wasn't getting a lot of defensive stats, but the efficiency, the low turnover is why he's the top 20th ranked player. but it's a sell high. I think his realistic value is top 70 this season. So you can get any top 40. I mean, even top 50 guy, I would do it. Struggling top 50, but if not, just hold him. Monty Morris, 32 minutes. Monty Morris has been playing better and better, I would say. Getting the steals, will give you 4 assists a game. In the last 2 weeks, Monty Morris has been playing all right. 99. Okay, only just a 99th ranked player. So I think if you want some assists and a little bit of those steals, you could think about rostering him, but he's not sexy at all. But he's getting a lot of minutes every night, so we could keep roster him just because the high minutes and the full assist a game. And nobody else on the Campazzo was a guy that would come off the bench, play 20 minutes last year. With Jamal Murray out, he's just getting 7.5 minutes. So I don't know what's changed this year and that year. He's just giving not giving him any minutes. And Bobo got into action, played 4 minutes because due to the block. And let's go to the last game of the night. The Toronto Raptors losing to the Utah Jazz, 103-119. And the news came out before the game. OG Anunoby is going to be out for a week, I think. Minimum a week. And I was browsing the fantasy basketball subreddit. I think people are just overvaluing OG like crazy. They look at him as a top 20 player, a top 30 player. I think in ranking wise, he could be top 30 because he is like a Michael Porter Jr. type. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's very efficient. He gets a lot of defensive stats. But realistically, like if you tell me, if let's say you want to do a trade, do you want to have Zach LaVine or OG? Or do you want to have Shea or you want an OG? Or do you have guys like, do you want Donovan Mitchell or do you want OG? Because those guys are inside top 30. Like I would much prefer getting the other guys. So if we can trade OG for one of those guys, I would absolutely do it. Like obviously he's out at the moment, but people are overvaluing him like crazy. He's gonna give you close to so far. Where's OG's? OG. Yep, he's 49th ranked player in the last 2 weeks. And let's see for the whole season. Yep, let's look at his season stat. He's a 33rd ranked player, averaging 20 points. Sure, I don't think he's gonna average 20 points. Probably 18 points. So it's not that far off. 2.53 so it's a bit high, but let's say he can do that. But rebound is very average. 5 rebound. 2.7 assists. I mean, that's not good. 1.5 steals. Yes, he can do that. Like steals is probably his best category. Shooting. Okay, he's also shooting the ball pretty poor, 43%, and only turning the ball over 1.7 times. Like his best category is steals, and it's pretty easy to get steals on the waiver wire. And we know steals. The variance is pretty high. So I just don't think he's like ranking wise. It's like big man like Miles Turner. Like hey, he's gonna be a top 20 player because he's high blocks. But I would rather much have guys in that range like Jaylen Brown, Zach LaVine, Trae Young, Lonzo Ball, like all those guys. I would trade for OG, no problem. I think he's getting overvalued a lot. But let's go back to this game. Scotty Barnes, 35 minutes. He's getting a lot of assists, though. That's great, and full offensive rebound. He's fallen off a little bit lately with his scoring, but he's doing it in the other areas. In the last 2 weeks, 91st round. I mean, this is probably where he is, like top 80, top 90 player. He doesn't hit any threes. Like your team is even better if you're punting threes with him. Pascal Siakam, horrible game. A good buy low. 2 for 14. Yep. Siakam should be a top 50 guy. So try to throw a top 70, like maybe Scotty Barnes for Siakam. Like that's a trade I would do any day. Ken Birch played 25 minutes, and with OG out, they put Ken Birch back into the starting lineup, and with Boucher got 18 minutes. Okay, so with OG out, in the short term, we could look to stream Ken Birch and Boucher. 20 minutes of Boucher can, if you need blocks, we could look to stream him. But if you need other categories, obviously don't touch Boucher. And Gerry Jackson Jr. Wow, 31. He's doing it. probably 16th ranked player for sure a sell high. Like, I was gonna say, like, if he can get a top 50 player back, I don't think I would think too much. But who knows? He might just be a top 20 player, a top 50 player. For the whole season, he's a 24th ranked player. Last 2 weeks, averaging 20 points, and that's the biggest thing is he's getting a ridiculous amount of steals. Like, I could see him averaging 17 points and 2.5 threes, but he's averaging 2.4 steals on the season. And if he just averaged 1.7, let's say 1.7, 1.8, he's a top 50 player. Like, will be one of the top 5 steal guys in the league. So I guess sell him for top 40. I think it will be hard. So at this point, just hold him. People won't pay a top 40 guy for Gary Trent. But 31 points, 5 threes, a steal, so good. I don't know. I guess he, a lot of people were wrong about him. I was wrong about him. Mainly the steals. I could totally see him averaging 17 points on this team, but 2.4 steals so far has been crazy. Fred VanVleet also played well. 24 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. I don't know how he get these many blocks. Probably just stripped the ball, not really blocking it. But a good game for him. And look at the Utah Jazz. Got some interesting going on here. Bogdanovic, minutes were low for the starters because, Bogdanovic, if he scored 30, I look to sell him. Otherwise, just hold. Royce O'Neal plays super well. He's a defensive streamer. If your team is punting points, you could think about roster him full time. Rudy Gobert, 7 for 7, 11 points, 2 blocks, and 14 points. Yeah, easy night for Rudy. And Donovan Mitchell, just the 1 assist. It's not great, but 4 steals. He's another guy like Gerry Trent Jr. Who else? Like John Morant. These guys is getting a ridiculous amount of steals so far this season. And we asked ourselves, like, can Gerry Trent Jr. continue? 2.4 is not possible, but he won't be a 0.8 steals guy. I don't think he's going back to that. He's going to be a 1.5, 1.6, 1.7. Same thing with Donovan Mitchell. I think it's a good sample size now. I don't think he's going to be average 1 steal a game. Something's changed. He's just getting a lot of steals now. 4 steals. Like, if Donovan Mitchell can average 1.5, 1.6, then he's a top 25, top 30 player very comfortably in 9 category leagues. And usually when you have Donovan, you want to pound the field goal. So if you pound the field goal, he's moving inside that top 20 range. But because he's playing so well in the last, he is the 19th ranked player for the whole season. Like, 11th ranked. If I can get a top 20 player, if I can get Bradley Beal for Donovan Mitchell, I think I want to do it. Like, if I can get, even though Jason Tatum is probably close, but yeah, the Bradley Beal is probably the only guy I could think of that I want to do that trade at this moment, because I think Bradley Beal should be better than Donovan Mitchell. Just does more across the board and a bit more efficient. If your team is pounding field goal, maybe it's a different story. Then their values are very similar, probably even better for Donovan's side. Mike Conley, just the 5 points, and he was a plus 33 while Donovan Mitchell was a minus 2. So I don't know what happened this game. 7 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Another one of those guys I look to sell him if he pops off. But this game is great other than the scoring. Jordan Clarkson, 22 minutes, continue to be a points and 3-point streamer, I suppose. And Rudy Gay. Rudy Gay is a very good fantasy player. I think we all know that. Give the guy, if at this moment you give him consistent 30 minutes, he's going to be a top 60 guy on a team. Consistent 30 minutes. He's very efficient. He can score a bunch. He can grab rebounds. He can get some steals and some blocks. No weakness. So I will be monitored. Like, if I'm in a good position, I can pick up Rudy Gay or monitor him, see how many minutes he can get. Consistent 25 minutes, let's say, because this is his first game back. Like, if they pair him and Jordan Clarkson and Joe Ingles coming off the bench, if he can play 25 minutes a night, like Jordan Clarkson, I don't know who they're going to take minutes away from. But let's say he gets consistent 25 minutes, then we could roster him. Right now, it's too many unknowns. And that's it, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow.